Shalom, Israel. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakak Kadash. Now, I want to do a little short video on herbs, introduction to herbs, and the three primary effects that the herbs have on the body, three classifications. Jump into a little scripture here first. Genesis 9:3. Every moving thing that liveth shall be meat for you, even as the green herb I have given you all things. Now in the scripture it's saying that every moving thing shall be meat, as in a food for us, and the herbs are included in there as well, because the herbs are a nourishing and healing food. They're a meat to the body for us. Now, a lot of these herbs are nourishing like food, and you don't really, if you consume these herbs in the right quantities, you actually can eat less food because they're so nourishing. They have a lot of vitamins, a lot of minerals, a lot of things that are much more easily accessible to the body when you consume them, and especially if you do your infusions, your tea forms. Or just eating some of these herbs. Some of these herbs you can just eat. Esau calls them weeds. A lot of those weeds out there are edible. I'm going to do, Lord willing, I'll get to a video talking about all the edible weeds, but that's for another time. So these nourishing herbs, this first classification of nourishing herbs, is actually the safest. You can consume them in large quantities, just like food. And just like food, you don't want to overeat these herbs. You don't want to be gluttonous with eating or drinking and consuming your herbs, however you're taking them, capsule form or whatnot. But this classification is the safest to be able to do that with. And some examples of these herbs are alfalfa, astragalus, calendula, Siberian ginseng, comfrey, marshmallow, nettles, which is by far my favorite herb. It's got just a high mineral content. I'll do a video about that someday, with Lord willing. Slippery elm, the wild mushrooms are actually considered an herb as well, and oat straw, another one of my favorites. Now, the second classification of herbs are tonifying herbs. These actually help with the functions of the body, the organs of the body, the systems of the body, and the more you take, the more they accumulate in the body, which is why they're tonifying. And you don't want to overdo these herbs. Essentially, you take them for a specific period of time, depending on who you are and how your body reacts to this herb, and then you stop, and then it's supposed to help with healing and tonifying these, like I said, these certain organs and systems in the body. Now, examples of these herbs are milk thistle. Milk thistle is very good for detoxing the liver. Pau de arco, which is good for getting rid of candida, parasites in the body. Turmeric, your everyday spice, which is really good for inflammation in the body. And it's also good for cognitive function. Garlic, that's another good one for parasites and candida. Dandelion root, another great detoxing herb. Burdock, echinacea, it's good for boosting the immune system. Fennel, ginkgo, raspberry leaf, that's actually good for the feminine herb, the feminine parts like the uterus. It's really good for tonifying the uterus. And if you have what's that called? That called the hardening of. It's something that women get. It's a hardening of the uterus. I can't really think of what it's called now. Anyways, raspberry leaf's good for that. Marshmallow is actually also good for that. Schisandra berry and mullein. And those are the tonifying herbs for the body. Now, this last section of herbs is these are sedative and stimulant herbs. These are the herbs that will help you relax or help give you energy. Now, these herbs, they act really fast. They can be abused, because what happens is you get too used to taking them. If you're taking herbs to go to sleep, and then you're relying on that herb to go to sleep, when you stop taking it, you're gonna have a hard time. Same thing with the stimulating herbs. If you're taking just like caffeine, you're relying on caffeine every single day, coffee. There's other herbs that boost the energy. That if you rely on them too much, when you stop taking them, it's really going to affect you. And to top it all off, these herbs are the strongest and actually can be toxic in some form if you take too much of them. Some of these tonifying herbs, same thing. Some of them can be toxic. Basically, the more bitter they are, the stronger they are. The more the more bland they are, the more you can take that herb. Like for instance, the tonifying herbs, turmeric and garlic. You can take large quantities of that without having any ill effects. So some examples of the stimulating and sedative herbs is valerian, golden seal, mistletoe, coffee, angelica, turkey rhubarb, chaparral, Mormon tea. Mormon tea is one of those stimulants. It's actually, it doesn't have caffeine in it. It has ephedra in it. It's a very short term energy booster. It grows wild in the deserts. A lot of the deserts here on the West Coast actually have some growing right across the street. So if I'm on a hike, I'll pick up some Mormon tea, chew on that, and just get this short boost of energy, like 15, 20 minutes or something like that. I've mentioned in my other video, mistletoe is good for sleeping. Skullcap is also good for helping you get rest. Kava kava, valerian root. Golden seal is great for boosting the immune system. One of the best herbs out there for boosting the immune systems by itself. Now, you can take herbs in combination to help boost the immune system or take them in stronger doses as well. And I'll get to, Lord willing, I'll get to a video on infusions to help you get, this is the best, I think it's one of the best ways to take herbs, and you really get to, you get familiar with herb when you're taking herbs in capsule form or in any form where it's bypassing your palate. You're not really connecting with the herb itself. Like when you're eating food or taking herbs, drinking anything, there's enzymes and there's something, I forget what they're called. There's these things in the taste buds, or sorry, in the saliva, that when it comes in contact with the herbs or the food that you're eating, it tells the body, or these little things in your saliva, where to take that in the body. So when you're eating food or you're drinking your herbs, you're taking your herbs in the mouth and you're tasting the herbs, the body is signaled onto where these herbs should go, and you get a better absorption rate by doing that. When you're taking capsules, of course they're bypassing that and they're going right into the stomach. And they don't get that connection with the saliva that helps them really absorb in the body very well. Let's see here. I know I didn't really cover much on the uses for the nourishing herbs. And a lot of the nourishing herbs, because they are nourishing herbs, it's essentially about getting nourishment and getting minerals from them. They're not really healing anything. Although the astragalus is it's a very good adaptogen. So the more you take a lot of astragalus, it helps your body to adapt to all sorts of situations, essentially, even dealing with more stress, dealing with viruses. An adaptogen basically helps you, like I said, helps you adapt to all sorts of different situations. And astragalus is one of my favorite herbs too, because it's got this nice taste to it. If you have an Asian market in your town, they'll sell it in these large bundles. And what I like to do is I'll make tea out of those, but sometimes I'll just chew the root because it's got this nice sweet flavor to it, a lot like licorice. And I think that's it for the herbs. Lord willing, I'll give you some more information on herbs in the future. I think the next one I'll do is the infusion video for you Yakiim out there. All right, Shalom.